I was thin my whole life until I was about 10 years old, and then I started to just learn to run to food for comfort. When I was sad, I would eat. When I was bored, I would eat. By the time I was 13 or 14, I was over 200 pounds. I always had a desire to lose weight, but I thought it was impossible. I was always told, well, you get it, it's in your genes, your family's overweight, you're going to be overweight. I was always by far the largest in my family, and I was nearing 30. The doctors had said I probably wasn't going to have a very long life. Both my parents were diabetics and had high blood pressure, hypertension, everything. I was told I would never have kids, and I would lay in bed at night with really bad chest pains, wondering if I was going to wake up. And somebody almost 30 shouldn't have to, worry about that. And so I knew something had to change. I dieted my whole life. I remember even being 13 and eating salads or, eating fat-free or, whatever. I always was trying the next diet. By the time I found out about Weigh Down, I was ready to give up. I thought if it didn't work, I was giving up. I was done. And so I was in Walmart one day, and I saw Gwen Shamblin's Rise Above book, and I knew about the program, and I was like, okay, it involves faith, and so I was like, I'm going to give this a try, and so I bought the book, and that was the beginning of my journey. Weigh Down taught me to take personal responsibility. I always wanted to blame being overweight on everybody else. I never wanted to take responsibility for the fact that I was trying to fill up an empty hole in my heart with food. Weigh Down taught me, eat when you're hungry, stop when you're full, and run to God when you're wanting to run to food but you're not hungry. Before Weigh Down, I would just have this all eaten in about 5 minutes. I wasn't a really big chip person, but I did still eat it just because it was there, and I always had 2 sandwiches. One of the tips that I learned through the Weigh Down workshop was to eat on smaller plates, which has helped me a lot, and to sit between bites, to put the food down, like if I'm out to dinner with my husband, not to have my face buried in the food, but to be, having a conversation and enjoying that dinner with him and not, so focused on the food.
She was developing a relationship with her faith, and that's something that was inspiring to me because that's something I wanted but had given up on. And just to see her, just changing physically and even more emotionally and spiritually, that was what really encouraged me.
That was the beginning of a life change for our marriage, for both of us, because Andy just watched me do it and he joined right in, and he would encourage me to just keep going back to the basics of Weigh Down and just applying those principles, and that always helped me a lot. People don't know unless they've been really overweight, just all the different things that go with that. Like, I could never sit in a booth at a restaurant, because I couldn't fit. I would always have to ask for a table. And now when we go to restaurants, I love to sit in booths. That's always my first request. And then something that Andy and I have taken on a newfound love for is hiking. I just love hiking. I love to get out there and see God's beauty. And now I feel like moving now that I'm not carrying around all that extra weight.
I didn't like to travel at all before. I was very much a homebody, whereas now, if I have an open weekend or anything, we're looking for somewhere to go, something to do, and just looking to get out there and see the world. And hiking is a big thing we've just grown to love because we're able to move.
Everybody always focuses on, oh, you've lost 300 pounds. But, some people will say, well, you're still the same person, right? I mean, even though on the outside you're different, but I'm not the same person. Everything about me changed. I've become a more loving person, not as selfish as I used to be, definitely wanting to help others. Like, there was never that desire in my heart like there is now, and I think I'm a better wife, a better, mother. It's changed everything about my life.